On this episode, we're going to be watching the New England Patriots offense, and we're going to focus on the sacks given up in the Super Bowl versus Seattle Seahawks. Throughout this cut-up, we're going to see a different reason for why we're giving up these sacks. Some of them are just technique issues, some poor technique, and that's part of the game, right? We're going to be in one-on-one situations. Sometimes our technique's going to suffer, and we're going to give up a sack. We got to figure out a way to correct that, right? So we'll go over through the coaching points on the technique for some of those plays. And then another thing is that, it's kind of a little bit more alarming is the lack of ability for the New England Patriots to communicate at the line of scrimmage, right? From the offensive line, from the quarterback, being able to read the defense and understand what they're doing and get the offensive line sliding in the right direction, getting the running back on the right guy, quarterback understanding where he's hot from. All of that was a huge reason why they gave up so many sacks in this game. Right, so the media is going to put a lot of attention on the young left tackle and the young left guard. But what they're not going to notice is how the quarterback is in control of protection, how the center is in control of protections, how the whole offense has to be tied into where we are going, right, what we are supposed to do and how we're going to do that. And if we're not able to do that, we're going to give up sacks.
We the one that came to turn the city up. We the ones that got it on our backs now. We the one that took it to 100. If you want to come and get it back now.
We'll correct the technique issues as we go throughout this film. We'll talk about some of the adjustments that they can make as an offense. Good, so the first one up, 1st and 10 in the first quarter. Right, get beat off the left side a little bit late. Quarterback ends up scrambling out, gets a sack late in the down. All right, we'll watch it from the other angle to get an understanding of what happened. All right, we got an over defense, over G. We got defensive tackle. We got our nose and a 2-eye. Right, we got a wide 5 and then a wide 9 on this side. We got the offensive line sliding to the left. All right, we got one-on-one matchup on the backside with our right guard, right tackle. All right. Should be a very simple protection as far as we're sliding 3 for 3 over on the left. Okay, we got 2 one-on-one situations on the right plus the running back. So yeah, the left tackle got beat, right? He got beat kind of late. Why did he get beat though? Right? Why was the guy able to get around him? Okay, so my first thought goes to, right, he's playing too high, right? He's allowing the defender to get to his chest. The left tackle is late with his hands, right? So starting right here at the left tackle spot, okay? Watch how late he is getting his hands on the defender. And then look how the defender has inside hand placement, right? So that's a recipe for disaster at tackle. Now, it's not the end of the day, right? Sometimes we're going to get knocked back a little bit, okay? But what happens here now is the left guard's coming to help him, right? Boom, left guard's coming to help him. He actually knocks the defender to the quarterback, right? So making it harder on the left tackle. The left tackle is starting to gain control right here, right? Not a perfect situation, but he's starting to gain control. Then the guard comes over and knocks him around the edge, and the left tackle loses control, right? We see that? So what can the left guard do here? He's doing a great job of trying to help the left tackle, right, in this slide right now. The left tackle needs to do a better job of fundamentals. It's kind of one of those unfortunate situations in pass protection when you're knocking the guy over to a running or a pass rush lane that the tackle can't stay with, right? So right here, he's got to get a big piece of those ribs, the left guard does, right, and really try to knock him down, okay? If he doesn't, he's got to try to stay with him, and they both try to stay connected to him and run him up the field this way. Okay, so not terrible, but then again, right, let's talk about the quarterback play. How much time are you going to sit in that pocket, right? When are you going to find your check down? When are you going to throw the ball away? All those things are questions that we need to ask, right? Because the left side of the offensive line here is going to get destroyed on the media, but as an offensive lineman, I'm going, all right, Ball snapped, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, right? 5 1,000, you're getting sacked, okay? Get the ball out, all right? Help us out a little bit up front. Okay, so those were the negatives of this play, right? Center's doing a good job sliding over. See, even here, right, like there's miscommunication all across the board, right? If you watch the center and then also the left guard, right, we got to slide to the left. Okay, they're going to the left. Left guard here, sets, makes contact with the 3 technique. Center sliding over. Left guard leaves, right? Left guard leaves the 3 technique to go help the tackle. Center gets his eyes back over here. Now there's nobody on the 3 technique, right? So another example of miscommunication, not being on the same page, not understanding what we're trying to accomplish, right? Because now even if this defensive end doesn't get the sack, we got a free rusher right here who's on the inside of the tackle. All right. So center needs to do a better job staying over there, stay in his gap, keep his eyes where they're supposed to be, right? Allow the left guard to go help the tackle. Now the center's got to stay here, all right? All right, pretty good job here by the right guard. He's working against this nose who's playing in a 2-eye, right? So just inside. He's posting down first to shut off the A-gap rush. Good job by him staying square, staying on his guy. Just continue to work, right? So pretty good job there by the right guard. All right, and a really good job here by the right tackle as well. He gets a big chip from the running back. All right, running back's going to chip the outside. He does a good job staying inside out, allowing the running back to help. All right, good. Let's watch it from the other angle. Technique issue at left tackle, lack of hands, bad pad level, but not a terrible job. The left guard unfortunately knocks it over to where he can't control it. Nobody's blocking the 3 technique. All right, we give up a sack. Good. Let's just try to pause it right here. All right, we see this. See how the left tackle's right hand is on the outside, right? He's not doing a good job playing with tight elbows, so he's not getting chest placement with his punch, right? Whereas the defensive lineman, look at that hand, right? Defensive lineman's hand's going straight to his chest, right? So offensive lineman either got to get that hand off of him, chop it or lift it, right? Or he's got to do a better job playing with faster hands and playing with tighter elbows so he gets his hand on him first, right? And then he gets lifted out of his pads, he gets knocked back, and the guard comes over and knocks it over even and makes the situation even a little bit worse, right? And then another good example here, right? We already watched this, but just again, center, left guard, not being on the same page, sliding to the left, right? And we get our 3 technique with nobody blocking him, right? Guard sets him, center's coming over, now gets his eyes away, and now there's nobody blocking this guy. We got 2 guys trying to block our defense end. We got like a double team on our nose. So just miscommunication all around. All right, now 3rd and 15. Yeah, we're still in the first quarter, but an obvious pass situation. And they get home with an unblocked defender, right? Bringing a simulated pressure, okay? So just looking at it from this angle, what's one thing that could tell us if we're playing quarterback that potentially this pressure is coming, right? Well, the first thing that I see, okay, our slot right here, that defender is completely topped, right? Stacked right on top of each other. It's a huge indication when the slot is topped that you could be getting some sort of pressure off the edge, okay? In this case here, they're showing pressure on the right side, and we'll see from the other angle, right? With 2 guys walked up, we have 3 defensive linemen over here on the left, okay, against the offensive right, I should say, right? 1 defensive lineman over on the left, versus the left tackle, okay? So they're going to end up dropping this guy out in the coverage, right? And they're bringing this guy off the slot right here, okay? So this is what we call simulated pressure, making it feel like they're going to be pressure off the right side. Now they're bringing pressure off the left. Good. Another example of how it's not just offensive line getting beat, right? It's not technique issues all the time. It's not always just our fundamentals, but rather pre-snap, understanding the defense, seeing what they're going to do, getting the offensive line sliding the right direction, making sure everyone's on the same page so we don't have a defensive back running free through the B gap. Good, and you can even see here, right? Drake May pointing. Who's he pointing at? Pointing at this guy right here, all right? He's telling the left guard, right, that's who we're going to ID. So the left guard's going to stay there. Left tackle is going to be responsible for blocking the defensive end, okay? We'll have our nose right here blocked by our center. Defensive tackle who's playing like a real wide three techniques, end up playing to the 3 technique, but he is starting like that 4 position. Now we got defense end way outside in a 9, right? We also got a defensive back on the ball here who's going to be pressuring off the edge, okay? We'll have our mugged up guy in the B gap dropping back in the coverage, and we're going to be bringing the guy off the slot to add in, right? That's often why teams are going to run this overload front too, right? It kind of forces the offensive hands in a lot of way, right? Especially when you have this many guys on the line of scrimmage. Okay, there's only so much we can do. You present 6 guys on the line of scrimmage, right? We got to decide who the running back's going to be on and who we're going to block up front, right? And then when that doesn't happen, we have to have our answers. Okay, so the answer here, right? If you watch, right here, guards guy. The left guard's guy, this guy right here, right? We got 58 supposed to be blocking him. He's dropping back, right? We got our running back in the backfield to block the guy on the edge. We got one-on-one situation here, right? What should he do, right? He should slam back inside, right? Go push off the center. Knock the center off so he can knock off the right guard, so the right guard can now be the one who would end up blocking this guy going through the B gap, right? But your guy drops, get your eyes back inside, go knock off your center. Because you'll see here, right? He ends up blocking the guy that is coming towards him, right? But now we got a double team on him. We got 2 guys on this nose because the left guard didn't knock off the center, right? Now we got our right guard staying on this guy, and we got defensive back free, okay? Whereas if potentially the left guard saw this a little bit quicker or recognized this a little bit quicker, in this spot, boom, go slam back over now. Get your body on here now. Now the center can stay on this guy that he's on. Right guard can keep his eyes through the B gap to collect that. We'll have our right tackle blocking the defensive end who's getting shit from the tight end, right? And that's the way we can pick up everything. If they bring 7 guys, yeah, we're not going to be able to pick it all up, right? If this guy blitzes, we're bringing everybody out the edge, plus this guy off the edge. Okay, quarterback's going to be hot off the guy who's coming from the slot, right? So that's one way we can fix it. I would love to see the left guard have some awareness here and then recognize this is happening and slam back inside. Or the quarterback recognizing it from the slot being topped, right? Those are your options. You know, if you have full control of the offense, right? If they have full trust in him and they see this look, right? They could keep the tight end in to block here. Now we could man up backside, have our running back for the end guy, right? And now we can slide A gap, B gap, C gap, and we'll be able to pick up the blitzer off the edge, right? So having all these tools at your disposal as a quarterback can allow you to play a little bit more confident, play fast, because you know that you're protected, you know where you're hot from, and all that, right? So we love love for him to grow from this experience, which is cool about being so young and playing in the Super Bowl. You get the opportunity now to grow from it, to learn from it. Good. All right, this is a really good job here by the left tackle, right? Getting the inside move by the defensive end, shutting off the inside move, getting on this guy. Really good job. Good job by the center and the right guard. It's kind of hard to coach the rest of it. No real technique issues other than not understanding our assignments and knocking over so we can pick up this pressure. But also you would love to see, if we're not going to change the protection here, Drake may have some awareness, right? He's got to get the ball out of his hands fast. We got defense or tight end who chipped, who late release, right? So clearly the quarterback didn't understand the protection because he just sat in there and didn't feel the pressure as if he needed to get the ball out of his hands quickly. So, right, we got a left guard in this situation who is young, right, who's going to grow from this experience to help protect the quarterback. And we got a quarterback who is young, right, who's going to learn from this experience and learn how to better protect himself and what to do when he can't protect himself. Good. And so the offensive line, right, is going to get credit for a sack here. Was it on the offensive line? I'm going to say no, right? Doesn't seem like that's a sack where the offensive line got beat. Seems like a sack where we're not on the same page. We're not totally understanding what the defense is doing pre-snap, right? And we're out there just kind of guessing, okay? So again, we got our nose here. Count him as our defensive tackle. Defense ends way out here in a wide 9. Defense end here. All right, we got our mugged up guy playing the B gap, +1 on the edge outside the left tackle, and they're going to be bringing the guy off the slot to the offensive right. Inside, we got a little twist here, okay, between our nose and our defensive tackle. All right. Really good job here by the Patriots passing this off. Now the center, like we talked about before, if he knew that guard was coming, the left guard was coming with him, he could just stay on 91. But we don't know their rules, so good job of them passing this off. All right. Call that an NT. Boom. And then we're going to wrap him around. Okay. All right. So 3rd and 15, giving up a sack, right? Not very good. All right, now we got 2nd and 7 in the second quarter. We got our left guard getting knocked back into the quarterback, not keeping the depth of the pocket. Quarterback holding on to the ball. Good. And again, just because I'm an offensive lineman, I'm always going to defend the offensive line. Right? 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, right? Again, not a ton of time, but enough time to get the ball in your hands. If you know where you're supposed to go with the ball right now, be quick, move in the pocket, right? Keep your eyes up, okay? End of the day, the left guard's got to do a much better job of staying firm, right? Okay, another example of how we have 4 guys doing what they're supposed to do. One guy who's playing with high pads and not getting his hands on the guy, right? Not able to anchor down, okay? Because he's in this up high position with his chest, right? He's just doing everything he can to hang on at this point. He's not able to get his feet in the ground, get to the hop, 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 right? Anchor down a little bit quicker. All right, so unfortunate position to be in for the left guard. You get bad technique. You got to get his hands off you. You got to find a way to re-rack your hands, get him inside, sit that butt down, get to a couple hops, give the quarterback another second or so, right? So you're not getting knocked back into the quarterback. Because other than that, right, this is a great example of good protection, okay? If this left guard did a little bit better job of staying firm, right, this is a situation where people can go, wow, the Patriots did a really good job in pass protection. Because across the board, right, we got guys doing their job. All right, we'll start at left tackle spot, highlight some of the positives of this. I love how he's changing up his set, right? Being more flat with his set, a little bit more aggressive, getting the chip from the running back, and now he's playing with extension, settling down, able to get into a position where he can move his feet, recover if he needs to. Good job there by the left tackle, right? Okay, center sliding to the right. We should get 3 guys to block 2. Sliding to the right, setting off his backside hand, right? Really good job there by the center, setting off your backside hand. Now they can create a double team here, create a firmness in the pocket, a place for the quarterback to step up if need be. Good. Good job by the center. Okay, let's go back a little bit. Also a good job by the right guard. All right, so good job staying in your gap, right? Giving the center some help, keeping your eyes where they need to be. See how he has his eyes on this defender, right? Body on the defensive tackle, eyes to the defense end, and he's able to help late. Good. All right, let's watch the right tackle on this play. Boom. Love how he's playing with length, and he's first one to shoot his hands. All right, really good job by him getting back. Really good job. All right, this is a great example of an offensive lineman using his length. Okay, we're watching the right tackle. Watch him use that right hand. Boom, gets it on him. Now he's able to get his feet back underneath him, continue to move. Right, you can see with that left hand, he's actually swiping the defensive lineman's hand off of him. All right, really good job by a tall offensive lineman using his advantage of being tall and using that length. Right, good job with his feet. I love how quiet his set is. I like that he's not stepping right behind him as he punches. That's a really good rep by the right tackle. A veteran who's been doing this a long time, right? Using his technique in the biggest game. Good. Right? So, from watching this play, that counts as a snap or as a sack for the offensive line, right? We got left tackle doing his job, center doing his job, right guard doing his job, right tackle doing his job. We had one guy with a little bit of a mistake with his technique, ends up getting knocked back, and now this really good protection turns into not so good of protection. Yeah, could the quarterback done something a little bit different? Yes, but I'm not a quarterback coach. I just think that when you have this type of time, you got to find a way to either get the ball out of your hands, whether that's throwing it away, completing it, incomplete pass, right, or move. You can't just allow yourself to sit in the pocket, end up getting grabbed by a defensive lineman who's being blocked by an offensive lineman. But that's what makes offensive line so cool, right? We have 4 guys doing exactly what they're supposed to do. One guy slips a little bit, and now it's a bad play. And again, right, you can always go back to who has inside hand leverage. See that defensive lineman's hands, right? See how he is never able to get his hands on. All right, let's watch that again, right? We're watching right here, the left guard spot, okay? The left guard is never able to get his hands inside on the chest, right? He's always fighting to get his hands where they're supposed to be, but never does, and so he's just allowing the defender to get into his chest. Good. We all see that? Like, see this right hand right here? He's not able to get it inside. Trying to work, right? And with his left hand, boom. See the left hand? He's around the outside on the shoulder pad. He's here, right? So right hand doesn't have any contact on the body. Left hand is outside, right? He's playing a little bit high pad level, and now he's getting walked back into the quarterback, right? So very, very fixable mistake by a young offensive lineman. Right? It's not that he's just getting worked, okay? He's getting knocked back too far, but it's a great opportunity for him to grow from this and become a better offensive lineman. All right, 1st and 10. Now we're in the 3rd quarter. And again, it's not like the offense is getting destroyed, right? 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4 1,000, right? You're getting sacked that late in the down, okay? We'll watch what happened offensive line-wise, but that's hard for me to believe that you couldn't have done something with the ball, right? Something with the ball. Get it out of your hands, right? We can't be living in negative situations and down and distance, right? Especially, now we're in the third quarter and the Patriots, as we know, we're losing this game. Going backwards is not a good situation to be in, okay? All right, let's start the left tackle spot. There's a lot of good on this play, right? A lot of good by the left tackle throughout this game. Like, look at that punch with the left hand, the left tackle. Boom, right? Look at that position. Yeah, he's getting some help from the running back too, but tight inside left hand, getting it on his chest, getting him up in the air, ending up in a great situation, right? So for as much as the media likes to make it seem like the Patriots made a mistake in drafting this guy and playing him at left tackle, I encourage you to watch this game and really watch him play because he did a lot of really good things, right? For being a rookie in the Super Bowl, blocking this defense end like this, right? Really good job by the left tackle. I love where his feet are underneath him, right? He's playing with a flat back, right? His knees are bent, right? Really good job there by the left tackle. Nice work. All right, let's watch the left guard. Okay, we got the center sliding to the right, so he's on this two technique all by himself, right? No help. Picks up, puts down his feet, right? Doesn't have to go a whole lot of, gain a lot of ground, right? He kind of just picks up his feet, put them down. Better job playing with tight hands. And look at the difference, right? When this guy played with tight hands, he has his hands inside, right? Look at that position his body's in now, okay? Way better position. Right, really good job by him against this two technique. Now just continue to move your feet, right? At the end, his feet kind of got stuck in mud a little bit, right? Just continue to move your feet, keep your feet live. Know that the defender's going to keep on working, okay? But not a bad job there. Pretty good job initially by the left guard. Again, really good job here by the center and the right guard. Center, right guard, right? We got a slide to the right. Center's going to the right, creating a double team where we can. That right guard spot, right, with the center's help. Now we're able to create this double team, create some firmness in the pocket, allow the quarterback to step up if need be. All right, now at the right tackle spot. Again, another good example of him using his length, okay, playing with his feet underneath him, doing a really good job being patient out of his kick, right? Look how patient his kick is. Just there, boom. He understands he's getting a chip from the tight end, okay? So he can be a little bit more patient off the inside hand. Now at the end, right, just try to get your hands on him and keep working, keep working, keep working, keep working. A late unnecessary sack by the right tackle and the left guard just because they stopped moving their feet, right? That's simply the technique error here by both these guys because they're both in good situations, right? If you look at it and we pause it here, left guard, he's in a situation in which he can win this block, right? Right tackle, as much as it's not perfect, he's in a situation he can win this block as long as he keeps working, keeps his hands on him, and just keeps fighting. You don't know what the quarterback's got going on and what he's doing. Just keep working. Very unnecessary sack that happened way too late in the down for my liking, right? Okay, I think this ball could be out quicker. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000. See, too long. Make your decision. I don't know what was going on with all the concepts. I wasn't watching all of them throughout the game, right? But it seemed like the Patriots had a lot of down the field concepts, not a lot of intermediate, the short passes, opportunities for the quarterback, which forced him to kind of stay in the pocket a little bit too long, thinking he's going to get this big home run play, big shot down the field, whether it's to Diggs or any other wide receivers. So as much as the quarterback wasn't tied in, the offensive line wasn't tied in at times to protections, right? It seemed like the coordinator wasn't timed into the urgency that this game is providing to get the ball out of his hands, right? It can't be a game where we sit back there for 5 seconds and throw it really deep. keep working, keep working, keep working. Right? It's a frustrating film to watch from an offensive line standpoint because, you know, initially everyone's doing such a good job, right? We're creating such a good pocket. If you look at this pocket shape right here, that's really well done, right? We got our tackles holding the width of the pocket. We got our guards and our centers holding the depth of the pocket, right? Really good job. Love to see the ball get out sooner, obviously, and then it holds on. We, as offensive linemen, don't know what's going on with the quarterback. Just keep working. Keep working. Until you see that ball go past you, you know your block's not done. All right, third quarter, we got 3rd and 5. Good. Now, this was probably one of the worst ones from an offensive line standpoint. We have 2 guys not doing great with their technique. Maybe more we'll see from the other angle. All right, again, Seahawks are getting to this kind of overload look here on 3rd down. All right, we got 3rd and 6 here. All right, we got our mugged up guy right here, and then defense end outside. All right, there's only so much you can do as an offensive line versus this. And from a defensive line perspective, right, you can create such good pass rush lanes, right? You create one-on-one opportunities. There's a lot of pressures you can do at this twist, right? So it causes the offensive line to be a little bit more hesitant and think a little bit more, right? So an overload situation causing the offensive line to go man on man, it looks like everywhere. No slide to this protection. Quarterback ends up fumbling the ball. Good. So starting to the left tackle spot. Better job playing with tight hands to contact. Right? Then he gets his feet stopped and wheels it, right? See how much he opens that left hip? Okay, I'd love for him to be right, boom, in that good position. Now just keep moving our feet on this angle, right? You're in front of him, right? You're doing a good job. Not the worst play. Sometimes we get into bad situations. He doesn't make us get the sack or anything like that. He could just be a little bit cleaner from a technique standpoint. Good. All right, again, at the left guard spot, right? He's got this guy one-on-one. He's going to end up dropping. Okay, I would love to see the left guard when he drops right now. Go slam back inside, right? Either create a double team here with your center or free your center up to get whatever's coming in that play side A gap or that slide side A gap, right? So just not great awareness by the left guard here. Good job by the center coming back with the looping or the cross-face nose here. Good. All right, so the right tackle is probably going to get credit for the sack here. All right, we'll watch this play. Who gave up a sack? Probably going to say the right tackle. I would make an argument the right tackle gave up a sack because of the poor technique that the right guard used. Right? Watch the right guard open his hips and allow him to get into that B gap. Right? Now it's going to make it very, very challenging on the right tackle if the defensive end plays across his face to stay with him. 1, you'll get foot traffic, okay? And 2, you're going to be on a different level than the guard. Right? So right tackle can do a better job of playing with length. See how the right tackle here on this example doesn't play with the length that we saw in other clips previously, right? See how much longer he's waiting for his hands. Got the defender making contact with his hands and he hasn't made any contact yet. And now he's in recovery mode, just trying to stay alive, right? I would love to see him shoot those hands, be quicker to get his hands on them, give him that length that he's been playing with earlier, all right? But the biggest thing is, right, the right guard's got to clean up his set here, right? He cannot allow himself to just go back off the line and open his hips, right? It's not allowing the right tackle many opportunities for help, right? If they run a twist here or anything like that, and then also creating foot traffic, which we get some here, okay? Let's watch it again. again, watch the right guard here. See how much he's opening his hips, right? He's waiting so long to make contact with the defender. He's going backwards, right? You see that backpedal off the line of scrimmage, right? He's just creating so much space. I would love for him to be a little bit more on a 45 and get his hands on him right now. Get your hands without opening those hips, right? And be in a better situation. Okay, and again with the right tackle, right? Not using that length that he was using all game previously. He gets knocked back, gets some foot traffic, and he give up a sack. All right, fourth quarter now, a little bit more of desperation time. Okay, we got 1st and 10. Fourth quarter, as we know, as this game was going, they were behind, right? They had to make a play. Okay, now quarterback has a little bit more freedom to hold that ball for a little bit longer, right? Now that we got to get plays going down the field, we got to create some first downs, some big chunk plays, right, to get back into this game. Okay, now the offensive line has to do a better job of giving him time. In this case here, this is a great example of the pocket collapsing from all directions, right? We'll watch this from this angle, but as we talk about it, right, it's a tackle's responsibility on each side to hold the width of the pocket, right? It's both guards and the center's job to hold the depth of the pocket, right? That's how we're going to create that U shape. And right here, as you see, okay, the sides of the pocket are being collapsed. The interior of the pocket is being knocked back, right? A recipe for a sack. This is one of the worst sacks on this cut up by the Patriots. Okay. Now, obviously, too, the Seahawks were in the mindset they had to throw the ball, right? They weren't really too concerned about the run at this point in the game, right? So you notice how wide the defensive tackle is over here, creating pass rush lanes. How wide the defense end is over here, creating pass rush lanes. Same thing with the defensive lineman over here, right? They're full on just like one-on-one pass rush, right? We just got to get home to the quarterback. And because of that, offensive line kind of retreating a little bit, and we have some technique issues. All right, let's start at the left tackle spot. He's kicking out to that defensive end. Good job with being quiet with his upper body, allowing his feet to do the work and playing with tight hands. Good rep by him, just getting knocked back too much, right? Consistently, it seems like he's in a good spot, and then he's just losing too much ground. I'd love for him to be able to anchor down a little bit more, but not a terrible rep. Right, just gets collapsed a little bit too much. All right, good. All right, center or the left guard spot. Right, know the center is sliding with you, so you have some help from him. If that defensive tackle wants to play inside like he does here, good job by the left guard. At this point, you're not going to be able to make any contact with it. See how much his body is flipped? Like his heel is he's pivoting. He's completely facing that direction. I'd love for him at this position right here to stay a little bit more square, right? Ready, pause. Stay there, right? Don't flip your whole body, right? Just keep your right hand on it. You know the center's coming to help you, and then you can go help that left tackle a little bit faster. All right, good job by the center, right? Great job by the center. We're going to end up getting defensive lineman play towards him, right, to his slide side. He's going to end up trying to play across his face. And then late in the rush, this guy is kind of loop back over. But he does a really good job of passing this off. Boom, being firm there. Now he's coming back for the looper, right? Just got to do it a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. Be a little bit more firm. Same thing with the right guard. It seems like the right guard started retreating a lot in this game with his set because of how much movement they were doing. I'd love for him to be more firm. Stay on the line of scrimmage or maybe a yard off the line of scrimmage and put on your fight here rather than continue to move your feet back unnecessarily, right? Especially a big, strong guy like him, right? Right, boom, he should settle down right here, right? There's no reason for him to keep moving. Be able to get his hands on him, help him pass off this twist a little bit more, right? But if you just watch his feet, right, the right guard's feet, just keeps moving back. All right, Let's watch the right tackle. I'm just completely missing with his hands, right? You see that early on? Watch his hands. Waiting a little bit too long. Now he's ending up in this situation here. Not ideal. You can keep moving your feet and try to get back to extension, which he's trying to do and run him around the edge, which he ends up doing at the end. Just initially, he gets caught kind of leaning and waiting a little bit too long with his hands, right? Good. So this is not the picture that we're looking for. Not a good pocket, clearly. Collapsed all around. That is an offensive line sack. Everyone should get credit for that. Good. See how the left guard could react just a tad bit quicker and not get his body twisted all like that. All right. Not a huge deal, but it'd help him be a little bit quicker to go help the left tackle. Good. And again, at the left tackle spot, defender's hands inside. Okay, right hand's outside, makes it hard on him to stop the bull rush. Has to anchor down a little bit better. Right, and then waiting too long with your hands when you get into that situation at the right tackle spot. Right. So a few technique errors across the board. End of the day, right? We didn't hold the depth of the pocket, and we did not hold the width of the pocket. All right, last one we're going to watch. This is truly desperation time, so we won't spend a ton of time watching it. It's about a minute left in the game, right? 1st and 10. We understand the situation the Patriots were in. They were just trying to get anything positive going to finish this game. Offensive line is clearly tired here, right? If we watch across the board, not using good technique, not continuing to work, right? Just tired, a little bit sloppy. All right, we got to continue to stay focused. I know it's hard in a game like this when you're not winning and you feel like you can't win. But even the defensive line is not moving very fast, right? Everyone's kind of tired. Everyone kind of feels how this game is going. And it just sucks. The game ends up with a tackle or a sack, and it's going to get credit on the left tackle. And if you watch the left tackle, right? Left tackle is doing his job, doing it in a good position. The quarterback decides to scramble late inside, right? And so instead of holding, he lets go. He doesn't know what the quarterback's doing. He keeps moving his feet. Unfortunate situation. That the media will try to make it seem like he gave up all these sacks and he got worked. But even in this film, right, we saw a lot of positive stuff out of him. Not very often was he just getting completely beat in a one-on-one situation. He had a couple technique errors, but I would say more importantly, the offensive line not being on the same page with how they're going to pick up these pressures and these blitz, right, led to the sack rather than him not being a good player, not having long enough arms, whatever the narrative they want to use, right? Same with the left guard, right? Another young player, great opportunity for these guys to learn and get better. All right, so that was all the sacks from the Super Bowl, right? That the Patriots gave up, credit to their offensive line. As we watched this film, we could see several things. One of them being their communication was poor, right? Not going the right direction. Their ability to get to the line of scrimmage and change their protection, to be able to read the defense and put the offensive line in the right spot by the quarterback, right? Those things really suffered, and because of that, they got taken advantage of, and they're in some very vulnerable situations in which they didn't have good answers to, right? Now, in addition to that, we did see several clips where offensive linemen had poor technique and they were just getting beat in their opportunity to block a defender, right? And those things will happen, but now it's their job to watch this film, to learn from it, to work on it this offseason, come back next year a better player. Right, so as much as the media wants to make this about, oh, the Patriots offensive line didn't do good, the Patriots offensive line, they have a bust at left tackle or left guard, whatever the narrative is, right? I'm not buying it. I think it's a collective. I think the offensive coordinator is just as much responsible for those sacks as is the quarterback, as is the offensive line, right? It's all tied in together. Are we calling a lot of downfield concepts with our passing game? or are we giving the quarterback the opportunity to get the ball out of his hands, right? What are we doing? How are we putting him in the right situation to be successful? So appreciate you guys watching. I'll continue making more videos from the Super Bowl. We'll release them over the next couple of weeks, but appreciate you guys watching and commenting. There's been several comments. It's been fun to reply back to those. If you're liking them, like the video, please share it with your friends, anybody who's in this football community. We're looking to grow and get smarter. So thank you.